Okay, here we are. We're recording. Hi, I'm Mike London, and I'm visiting with artists here that work in the Miami Valley. Um, Culture Works supports so many artists and arts organizations throughout the valley, and these interviews are a chance for us to get to know them. And so today, I'm speaking with Yetunde Rodriguez, and I don't want to describe. You're an artist, and I know your work. So, but I'm going to let you describe because I would say she's this artist. So how do you describe yourself as an artist?
Um, well, thank you, first of all, for having me. This is a great honor.
Great.
So I really only in the last couple of years embraced the artist name because for a long time I called myself a textile designer, a surface designer, anything but artists, block printer, printmaker. So it's really just in the last, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. It's really just in the last couple of years that I started really embracing the artist name because I was always afraid that being called an artist meant I had to be a certain way, you know. So I spent a lot of time just trying to figure out, okay, I want to do it this way, I want to do it that way. And then once I let all that go and just started to do whatever I felt like doing, things got much better, much easier. Opportunities started coming my way. But in short, what I do, I make marks. I make marks that I apply to surfaces. For a long time, it was just fabric. I love printing on fabric. So technically, what I do is called relief printing or block printing.
Yes.
So I would carve blocks, whatever carves and accepts ink and transfers ink, and stamp onto fabric. So I've done paper. I've recently started doing wood, but mainly I make marks and apply them to surfaces. And my marks are very spontaneous, whimsical. A lot of times I don't do a lot of planning. If I come up with something I like, then I might recarve it and put it on a grid to just makes more sense as I lay it down. But yeah, I create marks and I try to make marks that will make people happy. I do color combinations that I think that give me joy. I just really try to bring joy with what I do.
Tunde, what was it that took you this direction first? Do you remember when you first said, I can do that or I want to do that? What took you there first?
Well, I have a background in graphic design. So that's actually what I went to college for, was graphic design.
Mhm.
Never really worked in the field of graphic design. I've done a lot of freelancing, but that's where I first got introduced to art. You know, I've always been creative, always making things, always doing things since I was little. But growing up, I was partly raised in Nigeria, but I came here as a young teenager, came to the US. So the arts weren't kind of really encouraged, even though my culture is very well known for its art. But growing up, you know, your parents wanted you to be a doctor or a lawyer or something they thought
Yeah.
was going to make you money or whatever. So I didn't, I wasn't really directed in that direction. But I originally started school to be a nurse. But then after being in the military and all that, I went to, I went to college the second time and studied graphic design. So it was there that I took my very first art classes. And one of the classes we took was printmaking. And I found it really interesting, but I didn't ever consider it as something could do. It was much, much later down the line that I was interested in seeing. I also have a love for home decor, textiles and things like that. So back in the early aughts, I guess, I was like, it would be really great if I could see some of the African motifs that I had grown up with see them in home fashions, home decor, but interpreted differently than what I was used to seeing. So I knew nothing about textile design. I didn't even know that that was a job you could have. So yeah, and as with most things, I taught myself. I started, I didn't know how to break into the business. So I was like, well, if I want to see something, just make it. So I was learning how to make designs on fabric. I first started teaching myself screen printing because I was like, oh, this is how you do it. Then I discovered block printing, which I then I was reminded of about my printmaking years, and well, not years, the class I took. And also coincidentally, about the same time, I was taking some more design classes at St. Clair. And one of the last projects we took in one of my graphic design classes was it was a block printing project. So I carved a block and I was like, huh, well, this is really interesting. This could be another way to apply designs to fabric. So, and I love the sort of instant gratification of it. Yeah. Because it's not nearly as technical as screen printing. You don't have this big lead up only to have it wrecked at the last minute. So I was like, wow. So for all the years of trying to screen print and failing miserably sometimes, I was like, why am I bothering with that? I could just do this. Just carve some blocks, put some ink on it, and print it. So that's how I just really started exploring different things I could carve, different types of paint I could use. I was doing that, and I was selling pillows and bags, and did a lot of craft shows. Still do a few here and there, where I'm not doing anything right now with everything that's going on. But so I wasn't so much interested in the product end of it as I was in the surface design, the art of it. So, and there were things that I wanted to do that it seemed like I was doing a whole lot of work just to sell a bag for cheap. So I was like, why don't I just focus on the surface art of it? Mm-hmm. So that's how I ended up here, to where I'm, applying my art as I can now claim it yes. on different surfaces. Yeah.
Wow. So it's interesting because there's two things that you were talking about that are really interesting to me. Mm-hmm. One is the fact that in so many ways, you really have been your own teacher.
Yes.
It's interesting that somehow so many artists that I've known over the years, they find their way to their art. And it's almost, I sometimes wonder if there isn't, if that passion isn't there and it's just going to find its path, even if there's no teacher to show the way, but you did have one other thing, which is interesting to me, mm-hmm. because I've heard it before. And it's interesting about this community. And that was Sinclair Community College. Sinclair Community College is in fact a community college, which many people think of community colleges as a place that is a preparatory for going to college, or almost to do various certifications to get a different job. It's job training, but they really don't think of a community college as a source of inspiration and learning for artists. And it's interesting to me how many artists that I've spoken to over the years who claim Sinclair Community College as a place that inspired them to write, that a place that inspired them to dance, a place that inspired them to design something for a theater, a place that I've really been surprised at the impact of the arts program there.
Yes, I mean, it's fantastic. I love Sinclair. I'll take a class whenever I feel like it. I mean, anything from the arts classes to even like the continuing ed gym classes. Yeah. I'm like, wow, you can pay $25 or however much it is now for the whole semester and take swimming or yoga twice a week or whatever.
Wow.
I love Sinclair, and the teachers I had there were amazing in the arts department. They really were about teaching you the thing. It wasn't just, okay, well, how can we get you out of here, pass through? You know, I had some fantastic teachers there, and I love taking a class whenever I need a refresher on anything. So yeah.
It really is. It's an interesting thing to me to hear Sinclair be a center that you know, a lot of people might not think of as a community college as a place like that. But before we go any further, can you do me a favor? I asked you before if we can have a few. Can you show me something you're working on, or because a lot of people, I know your work and I love your work, but I want someone else to see your work here.
Yeah. So
Oh my goodness.
here's one of my most recent pieces. So this is going to be turned into a wall hanging for a customer.
Yeah.
It started out as a very small block. I'm gonna.
Yeah, you can get a block if you want.
Let me see if I can quickly find it. I am right in my studio, so.
That's great. Or actually, if you find any block, Yetunde.
Oh yes. So this is a similar block. It's similar to this print.
Okay.
I carved this like 3 times, but I don't like to do that sometimes because each time it's a little bit different. So this is not the same design, but
sure.
It's similar. What it is, this block was really small, and it came out so beautifully. When I printed it on wood, a little tiny piece of wood, and instantly people wanted it. And I felt bad because I was like, this is really small, but they bought it, so okay. So then somebody wanted it on a pillow, and at first I was gonna say no, but I decided, oh, well, let's go back to the battling screen printing. So because that was really the only way.
Yes.
To preserve the initial marks that I made.
Mm-hmm.
So I turned it into a screen, and this is how I printed this.
Wow.
So it has the same details as the initial block. Because if I try to recarve it larger, I knew it wasn't gonna be the same, you know, so that's that. This is one of my oldest pieces. Don't know if you can see it.
And
yes. Yes, and I have the original block for that right here.
Oh, so wow.
It's like a little 4x6 block repeated across. So the one I used to print this, I've carved this one a bunch of times too. I've turned it into a screen. I've had it digitally printed. I sold them as curtains a lot. So, but this is the original block. I just sat down one day, I had a little piece of material. I'll just sit there and just carve. And for a long time, I lamented that I wasn't like a super strong drawer. I can draw, but it's not, I don't practice enough. So I worried like, oh, if I'm, you know, sometimes I don't like the marks I make, but I just learned to embrace it. Even if I'm carving without a drawing template, if I'm carving something and a mark goes in the wrong way that I want it to go, I just say, well, that's just how it is. That's just part of it, you know. So once I learned to embrace that, things got a lot better because then it's all intentional. If I make a mark mistake, it was intentional. Just accept it. So I'm not at all tied to perfection. In fact, I like imperfection. I like wonky lines, crooked shapes.
Look at that.
Yeah, so this I printed last night as well. And I have the stamp for that one too. Don't know if you'll be able to see it. Well, yeah, I guess the reflection.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Now, what is that made out of?
This is actually, I'm going to drop another name that you're going to be like, oh, I've heard that name too. This is a material I ran across while I was perusing Mendelssohn's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We all know that one.
The Artist Paradise, right? And I'm so sad they're going away. So I would just go in there and just root through every corner. The third floor was one of my favorites, you know, finding all those little bits and bobs to
Yeah.
incorporate. So this material, when I saw it's like an industrial rubber mat. It comes in a big roll.
Yes.
Yes, it's towards the back somewhere. But when I saw it, I had just bought this material. And I looked and I said, well, you know, I bet you they're about the same thing. Then that's a lot. What I do a lot, I try to find connections between things. You know, I'm never tied to this is just used for this. No, I look to see what else, what other application I can find for something. So when I saw it, I immediately thought of this, and I bought just a little piece. I wanted to try it out, see if I could carve it, see if it could print. And sure enough, it did. And I'm almost certain it's the same material that they sell for printmakers. I'm gonna grab one more thing.
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, this is a material called Gomi Bond. So it's the same thing. I got a little sample of it and I compared side by side. This actually carves easier, and I'm gonna show you my carving tools now.
Oh, wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, so I got a bunch of it. I can carve as many stamps as I want now, as big as I want. Because a lot of times when you buy materials that are designated for art,
yes,
you are tied to a certain size or you know, use or whatever. They want you to just buy this. But I'm like, no, I want to find out what else I can use.
They come with their own limitations.
Right.
So I'm curious about this particular material. When you apply the material, is this the kind of thing then that you would roll, or would you apply a hard like plexiglass to the back of it so you can stamp with it, or any number of things?
No, I use it just like this. I roll the ink on it with a brayer.
Right.
And then I just stamp it. And that's what I use to print this.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So yeah,
great.
I've explored a lot of different carving materials. Craft foam is great for making stamps, but you just can't get as good fine detail. I love this material because it holds fine detail really well, and it doesn't degrade. So craft foam is great, but it's gonna eventually, you know, degrade. So, but yeah, I love this material. It's
so
everything.
As we look at this, here's what occurs to me, that somebody else who's viewing this might ask this question, and that is, wow, that's beautiful. Where do I find her work?
It's on my website. Well, I will say, my Instagram page holds more of what I do.
Okay.
You can see a lot more there. It's at Yaytunde. It's YAYTOONDAY.
Okay.
So that's my Instagram. That's my handle across all platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. So that's my handle everywhere. But my website I also have you can also reach my website at yaytunde.com, YAYTOONDAY.com, or my full name, yaytunderodriguez.com. It'll send you to the same site.
Same place. And if I wanted to buy something, can I buy it on that site?
Yes, you can buy from my website.
Okay. Do you
I'm
have
always adding things? So if I don't have it today, try again.
I was going to say, do you ever use what is it? Etsy, I think it's called.
Yes, I have an Etsy. I don't have anything on there now.
Okay.
That's where I started, but Etsy's changed over the years.
Yes, it has.
So I don't really have anything on there now, but I should be adding. It's still a great platform.
That's great.
I want to show you a couple of other.
Oh yeah, by all means.
Pieces. These are the prints I've done on wood. So here's one.
Oh.
Yeah. So just these I created using stamps on a black background. It's wood.
Wow.
That's one. Here's another. I have not put these out into the world as much yet.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And this one, I can't decide if it's finished yet or not. So,
Oh, wow. Oh, I
yeah.
love the colors.
Yes, I love color. Even though a lot of what I've shown you so far has been in my black pieces, but
Yeah.
you know, so many colors I have. I use mostly. I love reds and greens and teals and turquoises and oranges and yellow. I love it all. So, but I take a lot of my color inspiration from Nigerian dressing, because we're a very colorful people.
Do you have, oh, look.
This was a bag. This is my makeup bag. So.
That's wonderful.
Thank you. So yeah, I have a lot of friends.
I'm curious, are there, I'm wondering how much or how many others that you know that do this kind of work. Do you know other artists?
Yes. I know one person here locally that also block prints and screen prints, Rachel Dominguez Benner. Yes. You might have heard of her, Rachel DB. So her and I communicate a lot. We have some dreams about having a cooperative space that we can come up with. Oh, incidentally, she does a lot of work with Gem City Market. Yeah. Which is, that's a project that I am heavily involved in right now. I am providing, I've licensed them my designs to use on both the exterior and interior of the building.
So this is the new building that's going up on Salem Avenue.
Yes, yes. So watch out, you're gonna see my work on the building, both inside and outside. And
that's wonderful.
I'm on a couple of different committees helping put that together. I work closely with the architect, Matt Sauer. So we're finalizing some of the selections for the designs they want to use on the building. So that's one direction I totally did not expect. And it has been so great. I'm just so excited. I love this project. I love what it stands for, and I cannot wait for it to come to fruition. But yeah, so locally, I know Rachel does this sort of work. But outside the area, I know a lot. I mean, I follow a lot of other artists in that realm, Midwest and beyond. So
I'm curious. Do you get then much interaction with other artists of other disciplines, visual artists or performing artists that are here in the area?
Yes. You know, with everything that's going on, not much is happening.
No, not right now.
Yeah, I'm part of Dayton Society of Artists. And I've done some things through the Culture Works. I received a grant, the last round of grants. So I got to meet a lot of artists that way. I met some of my cohorts. I was like, wow, you know, we have so much, you know, there's visual, there's writers, there's performing, you know,
everything,
poets, everything. So I got to meet a lot of other artists that way as well. And yeah, just also doing shows, you know, finding out about, you know, who's doing what, and, you know, being at shows, you get to meet so many. And you'll see so much phenomenal work. Yeah. So,
is there anyone out there in any discipline of any arts? Is there anybody out there that excites you, inspires you?
Or do you mean locally or
anywhere? It could be locally, or it could be. I'm just wondering, because sometimes I have continually heard over the years from artists that this person excites me to do something new, or I love to watch their work, or whatever it might be. And it's interesting how artists can affect each other.
Yes. Oh, there's so many. Oh my gosh, where do I begin? Well, for starters, I I love observing a lot of, like, there's so much art coming out of Nigeria right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I was born there and partly raised there. I haven't been home in so long. So I guess part of trying to connect to home is watching the art that comes out of there. I watch a lot of Nollywood films, which what I love about Nollywood films, even though the acting, the storyline might be a little weak or whatever, but they always show a lot of the artwork. So I get to
Yes.
see the arts on the walls. The fashions inspire me.
Ooh.
So much fashion coming out of there. And so with that, I get to discover artists from there. There's a few really big galleries in Lagos that I follow on Instagram. So that excites me. Also within the US, well, okay, one more Nigerian artist. This
Yeah.
guy named Laolu. He's actually based in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So he paints on people. He's done a lot of like celebrities. You know, he did a music video for Beyonce where he painted her up in the white tribal paint. So that's exciting. Also, the artist Ben Ibebe, he comes here a couple of times, once or twice a year to Dayton.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of patrons here, but he's based in Nigeria. But he comes here. So I love his thick impasto oil paintings. Yeah, I mean, just amazing. You stand far away, you see the picture, you come up close, you see the fine details. It's beautiful. He inspires my son. I have a almost 17-year-old son who's also a fantastic artist. He goes to Stivers. Yes. And yeah, so, you know, he's very inspired by Benny Bebe as well. Also, people doing similar to what I do. There's an artist in Chicago. She probably wouldn't even claim to be an artist, but her work is phenomenal. It's similar to my work, but completely opposite in that she's very precise. Gosh. Well, her Instagram handle is Follow Some Prince. It means folly to some. So she carves these very beautifully intricate details that are just amazing. I love her work. We follow each other. Also, the Diggingest Girl. She's in Kentucky, Erlanger. She carves like I do, but her work is so fine and detailed. I could never, but I love looking at it. She's awesome. I love watching ceramic artists. There's an artist, she's also Nigerian, but she's based in, I think, the Pacific Northwest. Pottery by OSA. So Pottery by OSA. Her work is amazing. I love ceramics. I've taken ceramics classes at Sinclair, actually. Wow. That was great because at one time I wanted to get my designs onto ceramics, but I haven't had the patience to take on yet another medium. So I put that aside for now. I just watch the masters do their thing. Yeah, there are so many. Oh, Hadia Williams. She's also a ceramic artist, but she also has a graphic design background. She's based in DC, I think. So yeah, love her work, love watching what she puts out. But yeah, there are so many. And sometimes I have to kind of back away because if you get too much into another person's work, you kind of start to want to pull from that. And I'm like, nope, let me stop right now. I love you. I will watch you again, but I have to put you aside right now. Yeah. So yeah, because I want my work to stay my own. So
that is exciting.
Yeah.
That is exciting. What you're doing is exciting, and you're doing it here. Is this a good? Is working in the Miami Valley? I mean, you're still here. You didn't go to Chicago or to one of the industry centers, and you're still here. It's wonderful.
Yes, and Dayton has been so good to me. We moved here. My family and I moved here in 2007. And for a while, I had small kids. They're grown now. But we were just kind of like, well, okay, we're here. But once I started to really get into this art thing, it has been so good to me. I've had opportunities that I'm not sure I would have had anywhere else, you know. So yeah, the plan is to keep staying here. So yeah, I mean,
That's wonderful.
and with technology as it is now, you can really reach across wherever you want to. You're not limited by location anymore, you know. And this is a great place to live. The cost of living is good, you know, and there's so much that, I mean, there's actually money in the arts here, you know. So yeah, it's been good to us.
We have a wonderful community of artists here.
Yes.
I'm not going to keep you any longer. Thank you so much for today. This has really been great. Do me a favor, Yetunde, one more time. Can you tell, because somebody else might go, oh, I've got to go back and listen again.
Okay.
If somebody wants to see your work, where should they go?
On all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, it's at Yetunde. It's YAYTOONDAY. Also, my website, you can also get there by going to yetunde.com, same spelling, or my name, yetunderodriguez.com. That's
great. That's great. Thank you so much. For everybody else who's watching, please, this is coming to you through the support of CultureWorks. The benefits of supporting CultureWorks are real. That's why we want you to meet the artists that live in the community. CultureWorks only exists to support the arts organizations and the artists, just like Yetunde here, that live in our community. That's the entire purpose. So your support for the organization allows that organization to continue to support the indispensable assets that are every one of these artists. If you want to know anything more about CultureWorks, you can go to the website at cultureworks.org. Yetunde, thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And I'm hoping I'm going to be able to see your work again up close soon and not through this distance.
I know. Hopefully, you know, when things are safe to start happening again, we'll be out there. So
they will be. Thank you so much. You have a good day. All right.